Okay. Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Riley Pick 3 from YFC, and I'm here to talk about we'll call it 4 different slates, 6 matches in total for the EPL this weekend. We're getting into kind of that December season where the EPL really ramps up. A lot of the other leagues are going to be taking breaks and whatnot for Christmas, but the EPL goes full steam ahead. So make sure you tune into YFC for EPL coverage because, like I said, it's going to be a loaded month, and we'll be covering everything. So let's start it here. We got Brentford and Watford kicking off today around 3 p.m. Eastern time, and we're going to have a showdown for this. So there are a lot of injury news for both squads, so just be mindful of that. Definitely check lineups when they come out. I did highlight, I think this is a pretty interesting game, actually, so I did highlight a few. Brentford, I think, I do like Watford kind of in the spot, I think, to maybe pull an upset. Brentford's pretty banged up, and Watford has their fair share of injuries, but Brentford's defense, kind of shaky. Watford, not the best defense either, but I think their offensive attack is more potent than Brentford. So I think I'm going to play a little contrarian here, go with the underdog, maybe do some 4-2 builds with Watford. I still think Brentford is going to score, and this is definitely, I think, a match where both teams do find the net. I would look maybe Watford 2-1, I guess would be my prediction. But yeah, so from a DFS standpoint, I'm looking at Dennis here, 10.8K captain. I think with Saar out, I think he's really just going to take over that role, and he's just kind of your do-it-all player for Watford. He's shots assisted, crosses, really everything. So yeah, 10.8K. I'm going to captain him because there's a lot of kind of cheap players you can really fill under. So I'm gonna put him out there. He's going to be my captain, and yeah, for some other guys from Watford, I'm looking to fill. You got Pedro, 5K. He's had some decent numbers just in terms of shots. He's getting the shots out there. He just hasn't found the net. I think starting up front today gets an easier matchup. I look for him. 5K I think is a great price, especially if he gets a goal. He'll surpass his value in a heartbeat. Now, another kind of forward, we got Sissoko. He's playing up front. Really hasn't done that much. Has played mostly reserve minutes, but he's 3.6K, which is, extremely cheap for the price. And he's going to be playing up front. He'll probably get subbed out, so like I said, be mindful, but definitely a good dart at 3.6K. Looking at the defenders too, I like Danny Rose here. He's been very solid. Firmina too as well, and they're going to be a little kind of in the mid range, but they're very solid defenders. They do a lot of crossing, and like I said, I think this game might be a little open. Might have some goals here. So those are going to be my Watford leans. Let's look at Brentford here. They have a lot of injuries. A couple key guys out. Tony's out. He's obviously their main goal scorer, but one very important one that I think is Sergi Canos. He's kind of like a midfielder attack group coming out from the defender spot. He's going to be out. So I'm actually going to be looking at kind of his replacement here is Rico Henry, who's a decent player in itself, even with Canos on the field, but I expect him to take a bigger role. He's 6.8K. He's probably my favorite play from Brentford. Up front, you're going to have Membueo. He's going to be taking over the striker role, and he's actually had some solid numbers too. He's 9.6K. I think if you can fit him in, he looks like their most likely goal scorer. I really don't see any much other kind of goal scoring prowess in this lineup. But I do like Christian Nordgaard. He's 6.2K. He does a very good job of just kind of being that central midfielder, passing the ball around. He might get a shot or two up here. Not really a great goal scorer, but like I said, he does kind of everything you're looking for in a midfielder, and 6.2 is pretty decent, especially when you have a lot of cheap options on this lineup. So yeah, I think that pretty much wraps it up. Like I said, I'm going to lean probably a little more Watford here, just take a little contrarian angle, because I think Brentford is kind of an upsettable home dog or home favorite here. So yeah, let's move on to next. Man City Wolves. Yeah, I mean this one is a little tough. Man City is a huge favorite. They're minus 650 right now. So yeah, I mean the books are telling you that Wolves really have no chance. They're plus 1700. So this would be a monumental upset. Um, I think it would be an upset even if they found the net here. Man City is number one in expected goals allowed right now by a pretty fine margin in the EPL. So their defense is really what's carrying it right now. The offense, it's good. Obviously, there's tons of talent, but it's really not. It's not putting up numbers like Liverpool or anything here. So yeah, I mean this feels like a match. Man City probably wins 2-0. I really just don't see Wolves scoring here. So I definitely think if when you're playing the showdown, I think definitely try to get Ederson in your lineup. Seems like I said, if they win 2-0, and if you can land the goal scores or the assists and get the goalie in there, I mean, I think probably do most of the lineups probably going to be 5-1, City to Wolves 4-2 maybe. But yeah, if you can fit in Ederson there, he's probably going to get a win and a shutout. His price is obviously telling too, but like I said, if you can point out the goal scorers and who I think is probably going to be the likeliest goal scorers, you got Sterling, Mars, and Grealish likely to start up front. Right now, I'm looking at. I think Grealish. I mean, he just seems really overdue for a goal. He's been a little disappointing this year. I think all things considered, considering how much money they spent on him, and it looks like a good matchup. But yeah, Mara is obviously he's very consistent. His output is always very high, regardless of goals. I think a little cheaper price here. I'm looking at Rodri. He's kind of a GPP kind of hit or miss player, but he's going to be a little cheaper. And personally, you're going to have to buy down somewhere because obviously the City guys are very expensive. And yeah, if I'm looking at any on Wolves, I mean it's going to be tough because I don't think they're going to have a lot of possession. Two guys I would look at. I guess I would look at Nori. He's kind of a defender midfielder. He's going to be spy defender at defense. He's been very consistent and he's done it against the better quality team. So definitely my favorite player from Wolves. Up front, I'm going to be looking at Heeshan. He is forward, kind of a GPP dart. Again, he kind of has some ability. I like his price. And yeah, I mean, this is a really tough matchup for Wolves. So definitely leaning City here very heavily. All right, let's move on to the next one. We're going to have Norwich and Manchester United. Now, Man U is only minus 235, Norwich plus 600 at home, all things considered. Seems a little short for me, just considering the struggles we've seen with Norwich. Man U, they're going to be rolling out Ronaldo, Sancho, Fernandez up front. Looks like in expected lineups. This is definitely one of those games where Ronaldo, shows up and pads his stats. So yeah, I'm definitely including Ronaldo in my builds here. I do like I said, if you've been reading articles lately, Sancho is someone that Champions League, EPL, I've really been kind of targeting. I think he's really found his footing. He's a very, very talented player, and he's one of those guys who can do it all in terms of assists, shots, goals, everything. So yeah, I mean, I think this is a great matchup for him. Once again, keep building up that form and really start to find kind of his footing, not only on the Man U team but just in the EPL in general. So yeah, I mean, those are going to be my two attacking players. I'm not going to follow anyone for targeting Bruno too. He's been a little less consistent than he was last year, but he obviously has the ability to kind of just blow up the score sheet. I really personally, I think I'm just going to look at those three kind of attacking players and then try to slot some cheaper guys. If you're looking at Man U defenders, Maguire, Lindelof, they have a little bit of kind of header value. The defense hasn't been that great this year. Is Norwich going to score here? Possibly. I think if one player I really do like in their team is Billy Gilmore, midfielder. He kind of takes that do-it-all role too as well, and he'll be, he's a little cheaper price. So if you're looking for someone to kind of fill with those, three studs, Gilmore, maybe Man U central defenders, Max Aarons too, Norwich defender, does some decent crosses, has some assist potential. So yeah, I mean, like I said, mostly I'm just going to be kind of filling in those three attackers and then trying to buy low, and hopefully we get a Man U onslaught here, which I do. I think they're starting to play with confidence. I'm not a big believer in the new manager boost, but maybe the players are just really, maybe it's just kind of that time of the year where the players are starting to, get a feeling and the roster is really gelling well. So yeah, I'm looking at a Man U kind of onslaught here. All right. Well, let's go to the classic slate and let's start here with Southampton Arsenal. Arsenal's going to be at home. They're about minus 155, minus 160, depending where you look. Southampton plus 425. Southampton, they've been on a bit of a bad run of form lately. They're not a very strong team away. Well, Arsenal, meanwhile, very, very strong home team. Really have only lost one result all season, and that was, I believe, to Chelsea. So this is a very strong home team. And yeah, if you're looking at the article, you're going to read the article, you're going to basically see that, what I think about this kind of slate. And I do like Arsenal a lot here. Up front, I'm looking at Saka. Arsenal, he's 8.4K. He's been a little, rough lately in terms of DraftKings output. Very, very strong player. He does everything. I think this is a good spot for him to bounce back. Maybe get that goal or assist to kind of get his points value to where it belongs. He's 8.4K, and he's one of my favorite forwards on the board. Another midfielder I'm going to look at here is Smith Rowe. Obviously, another one of my favorite players. He's the do-it-all everything for Arsenal. He has assist and goal potential. He does have a little bit of a ceiling. He really hasn't had that kind of like 30-point output, but he's been very consistent double-digit player. 8.2K. Obviously, like I said, he has goal potential, assist potential. This is a good matchup for them. So if he's in, I'd play him. Well, there is a little bit of question with his hamstring, but I think he'll be ready to go. If that does in the case, if he's out, I think you got to look at Odegaard, 7.6K. And even if he's in, Odegaard, he's been in amazing form. He obviously had a goal on Monday. He's really starting to find his footing, which is why, I'm not sure if he's going to live up to the billing of the Norwegian Messi, which is what he was called early on in his career. But he's a very, very solid player. And once he's kind of similar to Sancho, he's really finding his footing in this league and starting to become a consistent player. Yeah, if I'm going to say another GBP dart is Aubameyang. He is 7K. I mean, yeah, he's been very disappointing this year. Is he a little washed up? Is he just getting too old? Not sure, but 7K. I mean, if you think, I think he's a good. If you're going to do an Arsenal stack, which is one of the stacks I recommend, I think he's definitely one you include in case he does get that goal, because just the way his form has been, he's probably going to be lower owned here. So yeah, and really for Arsenal, I'm going to look at a defender too, Kieran Tierney. And once again, check his lineups. Possible he might not play, but if he's in, I think he's a must play. 5.2K. He kind of just does that defender attacking role that I really love. Crosses, getting the passes out, assist potential. So 5.2K is a great price as well. Yeah, and Southampton, like I said, tough matchup for them. But if you're going to look at anyone, Shea Adams, he's been a very strong player. I had him in my article last week, and he scored for us, which was huge. James Ward-Prowse, he's a little cheap, 6.7K. I mean, Arsenal's not the strongest defensive team. I think they're pretty solid. I think he can kind of fill up the score sheet a little bit. 6.7K, though. I mean, there's a lot of good options on the board, so definitely tread lightly there. And yeah, defender too. I'm looking at Kyle Walker-Peters. He's 3.6K. He kind of does that defender kind of attacking role. So definitely someone to look out for. I mean, I really just like the price there. To me, that's more of a price play than anything. Like I said, I think it's a tough matchup, but it's a good price. So yeah, that kind of wraps it up for that game. Let's move on to let's move on to Chelsea Leeds. So Chelsea is a big favorite here, minus 400, Leeds plus 1100. Chelsea's starting to get a lot of the players back that have been injured. Lukaku, the most notable one. They've surprisingly, if you look at their kind of last string of results, given up a ton of goals. I mean, they just gave up 3 goals to a Russian team in the Champions League in essentially which was a must-win game. So maybe some things going on here with the roster, all the lineup shuffling, but obviously they're a huge favorite here, so they're expected to kind of do the business here. Leeds, just a little, still a little off. Really not as strong as they were last year, but they also have a lot of players out, and they're starting to get some guys back. So, yeah, I mean, I actually think Leeds has a decent chance here to at least keep it within maybe 1 goal, do they have a chance of the draw? I mean, maybe, but yeah, I think they're starting to find their footing a little better. Chelsea's just in a little bit of a rump here. Like I said, they really haven't found their strongest 11 with all these injuries here. Is this maybe a match they overlook coming off a Champions League match? Possibly. This is it's kind of a tough spot, I think, for Chelsea. But like I said, they're obviously the overwhelming favorite here. So yeah, let's look at some of the players. So yeah, I'm actually going to look at Rafinha here, the Leeds midfielder. He's one of the most expensive players on the slate. I believe he's second most expensive. He's 9K. I think he's a great leverage play because I'm guessing a lot of people are going to be scared away from him just based on Chelsea kind of that perception of this is a really great defense, and it is a great defense. There's a lot of talented players, but he's had some solid performances versus the big six clubs, the top four clubs right now. And 9K I think will be a great play just because I think the more people than not are going to be scared off him just because of the matchup. But he's a do-it-all player. He's one of the better players in the entire EPL, and I think 9K is a bargain. They were playing a middle or bottom club, he'd be almost 11K. So yeah, I'm gonna take a shot here. 9K, I love that play for Rafinha. And yeah, I mean, if you're looking at GBP, I think you're going to have to include Lukaku. I mean, he's very, very hot and cold. You really have to get a goal or two out of him to kind of, get him. But 7.3K is extremely cheap for a player of his quality. Still, obviously, finding his footing from injury. I'm sure he won't play a full 90. But yeah, I mean, he definitely has potential to get 2 goals here, if he wants. So, and then one more Leeds player I'm going to look at, very cheap forward, Tyler Roberts. He's going to be up front at 4.6K. I mean, you're not going to find many strikers 4.6K. And he did have a goal in his last time out. He had a decent performance the one before getting some shots on target. So definitely someone to look at. I mean, yeah, like I said, it's hard to find a forward that cheap. I know they're a big underdog, but he's a decent player. And, obviously he's going to have Rafinha looking for him. So definitely someone to look out for. At midfield, I'm going to look at Hakeem Ziyech. He is the Chelsea midfielder, 7.9K. Actually been one of the most consistent players in the EPL. Very consistent with just getting double digits. His average 14 points in his last 4 outings. So definitely someone who's, he's not going to give you a dud. And he's up front. He's probably going to be in the best form in terms of the Chelsea, midfielders, attackers. So at 7.9K, I mean, that's a great play. One of my favorite plays on the slate. I'm going to look at one more defender here, too, is Reece James. They put him in the defender spot. I'd call him more of a midfielder. He's had some huge outputs in Champions League and EPL as well. So, he's very expensive. He's 7.7K, but don't be scared of that as a defender tag. I mean, he's essentially a midfielder attacking player. And yeah, like I said, he's been great, and 7.7K to me seems a little cheap. So yeah, I mean, and I'm going to look at one more Leeds player here, Stuart Dallas, defender, kind of a cheaper version of the defenders that we've talked about. I mean, he's 4.9K, but he does very solid getting those crosses and passing, getting up on the wing, and making some attacking movements. So yeah, 4.9K. If Leeds does show up, like I think they will, then I think that's a great buy. Yeah, I think that wraps it up for that one. And let's move on to the last one, which is going to be Liverpool and Aston Villa. Now, Liverpool is minus 450. Aston Villa is plus 1,200. So this is the biggest favorite on the slate, even bigger than Chelsea. Like I said with the last one, I was feeling a little contrarian. I think Leeds shows up. I'm feeling a little contrarian here too. I actually think Aston Villa has a shot to at least keep it within, striking distance. Liverpool is your likely winner. They probably win 1 or 2 goals. But once again, this is going to be a tough spot. The games are starting to rack up for Liverpool. Champions League, EPL. They got a big month coming ahead of them. They're middle of the title race. Is this a spot they overlook, or are they just that much better? Yes, I mean, they are obviously much better here, much more talented. Their offense has been the best in the EPL, I think so far. So yeah, let's take a look. Salah, obviously, he's been amazing this year. He's very expensive. He's 10.9K. personally, I'm not going to play that much for him just because I think it's going to be hard to get to his value. He was he had about a five match stretch where he was putting in like 30, 30s, 25s, 35s. He started to cool off from that, and is he going to score? I most likely. I mean, his anytime goal score odds are the best on the slate. So, but personally, I think I'm just going to stay away. I don't like the price. Obviously, he's a great player, not that, but I think you can kind of build your lineups with kind of mid-range players, or everyone's around the same price, and get to the same place. But I'm not going to follow anyone for playing him. Obviously, great player, most likely going to score a goal here. Excuse me. Is he going to score two? I think that you need two to kind of get to the price. I'm actually going to look at the Japanese player here, Minamano. He's going to be playing up front. He actually started Champions League, had a very solid outing. He's 6K. He's going to be up front with Salah, and I'm going to give it a go here. I mean, I think he's a very young player, very nice player. They're giving him a chance here against Villa. These guys on Liverpool, young guys, they typically do well. He obviously is going to have support from Mane, Salah, Henderson, Arnold, getting him some passes. So I think if he gets a look, 6K, if he gets a goal, lovely. I think he's a great play and great buy at the price. He's probably not going to get many chances to start. So yeah, let's take a roll on him. Anyone else up front really in this match? I'm actually going to look at Villa. I'm looking at Ollie Watkins here, 5.3K. He's going to be playing up front. Once again, just a very cheap buy on someone up front, get in the striker role. And I think it's worth a gamble in some GPP because, like I said, Liverpool, it's not like they haven't given up goals this season. So I think if Villa can get one, he's probably your most likely target. And 5.3K is a great price. Just like I said, tread lightly because if he doesn't get a goal, he's likely a bust. Let's move on to midfield, and I'm actually going to look at another Villa play here, John McGinn. He is 5.1K. That's a very cheap price for what he's kind of done here. He's very consistent, getting double digits output. He's doing everything, the crosses, passes, shots, assists, at everything. So yeah, I mean, he's a cheap buy, and like I said, Liverpool, they play more of an open style, so it's not like Villa's not going to have their share of possession, and I think that's a great price. He's going to be one of my favorite players here. And I think he might go a little bit under the radar just based on, obviously you have two huge favorites, and you also have Arsenal, who's, I think is a very, very live favorite, and I think their price is a little short. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's a great price there. I'm also going to look at Jordan Henderson for Liverpool. He's a GBP play. He's very hit or miss, but when he hits, he does hit. He's 5.1K. You're going to have Jota out. You're going to have a few more guys out of the usual lineup. Does he kind of get a bigger role in this match because of that? I think so. And like I said, he's very tough because he's either 1 or 20. So definitely a GBP play, but I don't like him in this spot. And I think he gets a little bigger role, gets more possession, and gives us an assist or a goal at the price. So yeah, a little kind of going a little cheaper. In this match where I think there's a little more chalk. I'm going to look at a defender, though. I am going to pay up for one defender here, and that's Trent Alexander-Arnold. I think he should have this is one of those matches where he just has a huge game. They probably control possession like 60-40 or something. He's 8K. We're getting a little bit of a discount just because he's had a few lesser performances, which he's still been okay. But yeah, I mean, I think this is a good spot for him, and 8K. If you're not buying Salah, I think you can save room for Arnold, who's going to get all the possession stats. And, if he can do something like give us an assist or a goal, then, even better. Yeah, so that pretty much wraps it up for the recap. I'll just touch on the goalies here quick, too. Ramsdale from Arsenal, 5.5K. Meisler from Leeds, 3.7K. And Martinez from Villa, 3.6K. I'm just going to pay up for Arsenal if I have the money. Otherwise, I'll just pay down with Leeds and Villa and try to get some, better attacking players in there. Like I said, with goal, it's kind of just roulette. Just kind of hope for the best. It's very, very tough position, and I focus for lineups on midfield and attack and defenders, and then see what you can do, see what you need from the goalie wise. Yeah, a few stack options too. Like I said, Arsenal attack. That's probably going to be my favorite one. I think they're little short here at the price. Like I said, I think this is a big match for them. And then, yeah, I think if you're going to look for like a contrarian angle, maybe look at Leeds Arsenal pairing, Leeds Villa, Villa Arsenal, anything along those lines. If you want to get contrarian, obviously Liverpool onslaught, not going to fault anyone for that. They definitely have the biggest potential here to go up to 3-4 goals. So yeah, those are just kind of my general thoughts. Like I said, I appreciate everyone taking the time here, and definitely stay tuned to YFC. We're gonna have coverage all month for EPL. It's a great time, to get into soccer, DFS, soccer betting, everything with YFC. We're gonna have tons of matches coming up, tons of coverage for me and everyone else on the team. So yeah, good luck, everyone.